5 scores! Rick Vaughn.
We've decided to get ourselves back in the game again with our podcast.
Rick Vaughn, Gary Madden.
Probably the craziest story that you're ever going to hear about hockey.
We're going to be coming back to you on a regular basis.
You are listening to Squid and the Ultimate Leafs Fan.
Hello, Canada and hockey fans of the United States and Newfoundland, and an extra big hello to Canadian servicemen overseas.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 110 of the Squid and Ultimate Leaf Fan Show. I'm Mike Wilson, the Ultimate Leafs Fan. Joining me, as always, my winger, Ricky Squid Vibes. Squid, how are we keeping? Good, I hope.
We're doing okay, Mike. We're 110 shows in, man. That's impressive.
Well, it is, for a couple of slugs like us, that's not a bad accomplishment. Not to suggest at all that our 110th guest today is anything short of being in our top 10 of all-time favorites, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely say that.
Well, without further ado, our guest today was born and raised in Czechoslovakia, drafted 25th overall by the Toronto Maple Leafs in 1982. Ironically, 2 years earlier, he was scheduled to play in the 1980 Olympics, the famous U.S. gold medal win, but was considered a flight risk, so was banned from playing. But he would then play 8 seasons with the Maple Leafs, and until a kid by the name of Austin Matthews came along, held the Leafs' rookie season point total mark. I'll tell you what, that's not bad for all those years to hold that record. He would finish his career in Europe, and today is a scout for the Washington Capitals, enjoying the 2018 Stanley Cup win. Please welcome Peter Ihnačák. Peter, first off, thanks for joining us, and how are things?
I'm doing well. Things are going well, and I'm happy to be here with you guys. And congratulations on so many shows what you have.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since you guys have probably spoken. When was the last time you did?
I think it was maybe 7 years ago. I lost job with Maple Leafs as a scout. Then I was living in Europe. I returned to Canada and I joined alumni hockey team. And I think I was a roommate with Rick on one of the road trips.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that very well.
So besides scouting, Peter, how are you keeping busy these days?
Oh, I have a kind of, I don't know, it's sad news or bad news for myself. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, but it's from beginning, it just, that was kind of surprising for me, but I'm in good shape. I'm going to do some treatments and radiation, and it looks good. And, I'm scouting for Washington, traveling a lot. I'm responsible for Czech, Slovak Republic, Germany, Switzerland, Russia, not anymore because the war is there. We hired other scouts working in Russia for us.
Well, I mean, first off, we want to say best of luck moving forward and, knock this thing off, which we know you will, because we know you're somebody who's always looked after himself and kept yourself in good shape. So hopefully that'll come through and you'll fight this off and get back and, get this scare out of the way. How many times a year to get back to Canada or the U.S.?
How many times?
Yeah.
Normally, when we have meetings, scouting meetings, or when it's some event like the tournament under 18, or there was this August, there was tournament Ivan Hlinka Gretzky Cup in Calgary. Then I was there watching and scouting with other colleagues of mine from Washington, and that's about it. Not more than only when there is some hockey event.
So you work for a good friend of mine who was my goalie when I coached in the ECHL, Jason Fitzsimmons.
Oh yeah, he's a very nice guy. He's funny, fun guy, exciting guy, and it's always fun when he's around.
Yeah, he's a great person.
Oh yeah.
Now, Peter, you were back when Washington won. What was that like for you when the team won and the Stanley Cup? You got to hoist it over your head.
It was amazing. I mean, I wish all Maple Leafs fans that they didn't experience 67 Cup winning party, that they should experience that in Toronto. It's amazing. It's a fantastic feeling, and it's exciting. And you not only you should be good, but you have to have all the luck to win the cup. It's until you have it. To last minute, we were in Las Vegas, and we were leading, then we were behind, and then we scored leading goals. And when the game was over, then until then you don't believe that you have it, because it can change in any second. It's just fantastic feeling. I was being on the ice and hoisting the cup is just special.
Yeah, I never got to do that, unfortunately. In any capacity, but but I did touch it at the Hall of Fame, so at least I got to touch it anyway.
Well, even I did that, Squid. Come on. But now, Peter, just along those lines, did you have any preconceived ideas of what winning the Stanley Cup would bring with regards to celebrating and the prestige that just follows it?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know what I mean? Like you work with your colleagues, but when you win the Stanley Cup, like your memories are forever, and that memory of winning cup is put you together, and it's all we are all like we all stick together and we respect each other. And you have to have a good team to win the Stanley Cup. Like Washington Capitals, maybe last 15 years, they were at least 10 years the best team in the league. And we had so many bad lucks. You know what I mean? We won the President Trophy, and then we lost in the first round against Pittsburgh. We lost against Blue Jackets, and we lost against other teams. You know what I mean? It was very disappointing, but we always regroup, and we were always believing, and that the luck is going to change, because we had a good team. We just needed that little extra luck. You know what I mean? That everybody's safe. Like even goalie was standing on his head. He made in Las Vegas one save. He flew across the net, and with the stick he stopped the puck. If he wouldn't make that save, he wouldn't probably not win it. Yeah,
I remember that save.
Yeah.
I remember that very well. Now, Peter, when you first came over, well, you and I have something in common. You held the record for the most points as a rookie, as a Maple Leaf, for probably 40 years or almost 40 years. And I held the record for 40 years that one guy from Arizona broke, both.
I mean, Derek, you were amazing. You were an amazing shooter. I mean, we all admire you, and you play on our team, and every night you step on the ice. The best defensive pair was playing against you, and they play physical against you. They were abusing you, but it's not many times they stop you. And your shot. I was talking to many goalies, you know what I mean, about you, and they said, listen, when Ricky was going down that right wing, we gave him that left side open because we didn't want that he's going to hit us, but it wasn't easy to score, because I was watching you at the practice, and when you line up pucks there, and every shot was maybe how many 10 inches or something like the high far post. Like it was amazing. And I tried to use your stick sometimes at the practice, but it was so heavy and so thick. You know what I mean? I couldn't even put my hands around that.
Gary Lehman said that if he put him up on something, he could probably do pull-ups on it and never break it. So
it was fun.
It was heavy.
It was fun to watch you, even when you came to the dressing room before the game, because shooters, they always talk to their sticks. And Ricky was always taking care of his sticks, he was, taping them, and, he just like almost massaging them. And it was just, you know what I mean?
Was, you got to look after your tools,
That's right. Now, Peter, what the guys you're associated with or speak to, playing in North America isn't as big a mystery today as it was 40 years ago when you came over. And we'll get into that a little deeper as we go along. But having said that, is the desire and drive for young players to make it in the NHL as strong today or stronger from Czechoslovakia and some of those European countries you covered?
It was probably stronger before because it was almost impossible to get into NHL. We were kind of dreaming about the NHL. We were buying some magazines or something like that and watching players, and that was my motivation. Every time I saw North American players or team playing, then it gives me energy because the way they play, it was different than the European way. You know, they skated differently. They put so much energy and excitement in the game that every time I watch a North American team to play, then right away, it doesn't matter if it was 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, I went out and I was skating and I was shooting and just give me, it was fun.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. You were born in Poprad, Czechoslovakia. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Oh,
Talk about playing youth hockey and growing up.
Yeah, it was. First of all, I'm from a big family. We were 12 kids. My grandfather was living in New York. My aunt was living in New York. My other, from father's side, grandfather was in the U.S. and he came back. And you know, I'm from mountain region. Like in the winter was like everything frozen, minus 15, you know, rivers frozen. Then we went out, the roads were frozen, then we were on the streets and we play hockey. But I was probably 13 when I started playing hockey for the team. And when I was 15, then that was the age where I had to move to junior team. And the coach came to me and said, "Listen, we have no room for you here. We cannot keep you because there is no room." But then he kind of looked at me and he goes, "Here on top of the window, there is some room. If you want to put your equipment there and you wait until the rest of the guys dress up and then you can dress up and you can join us." Then I got possessed with that game. You know, I was working out every day, almost 8 hours. I come home from school at 12 or at 2 o'clock, eat something, and I was at the rink until midnight. I went to any team that went on the ice. I went to coach. I said, "Coach, please, can I skate with you?" He goes, "Yeah." They skated with them for an hour. Other team came, said, "Coach, can I skate with you?" "Yeah, you can skate every day. But you know, it was just fun. I loved it. I was, like I said, I went crazy, and I was working out. When I then joined the A team. I was working out from morning until evening, like midnight, or after practice. I had another practice. It just I love that. You know what I mean? Hard work, competitiveness, and I was improving because when I started at 13, I was already playing with under 18 national team. Then I was playing with under 19 European Championship, and it was first championship under 20 in Slovakia, in Banská Bystrica and in Zvolen. And I was lucky because when I got an invitation with under 18 team to West Germany, I had to go to apply for a visa or for permit, and I knock on the door in the office where they issued the permit, and the guy, he saw me, "What's your name?" "Ihnačák." I said, "Out." "You're not out. You're going nowhere." Because my sister left in 67, then my brother left in 68, and my other sister left 72. Then plus I had family before, like my grandfather and my aunt was living in New York. Then they said out. Then I kind of came very, very sad home, and I said to my father, and he said, "Kid, I cannot do anything." Yeah, but anyway, I didn't play game, a junior game in the Slovak league, and I blocked the shot with my ankle, broke the ankle. I couldn't travel anyway. Then it was good.
Now, you two
So,
missed each other at the
Peter,
World Juniors by. Oh, Squid, hang on. You two missed each other by a year at the World Juniors. Peter, you were in '77 and Squid, you in '78.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
for me, like I said, for me, like Canadian guys compared to Europeans, we would say at least 2 years they're ahead of development. Like I think Billy Huber was there, Dale McCord was there, my Bassi was there. Like we were just kids. Those guys were unbelievable. They were mad. They were strong. They skated like a wind. It was just different team. You know. Then we finished. They play Canada won. They play final against Russia, and we finished third.
It's great.
Yeah, so going back to when you came over, and we talked about this last evening, Mike and I, about the league, and people talking about teams play down to their competition and that sort of thing. I said, no, I think the problem is that everybody in the NHL are NHL players. They're all good, and the world has opened up, so we got a lot more European players coming over with a ton of talent and fitting right into the NHL right away. And so, I mean, on any given night, because the league is so strong, because of everybody coming from all over the world now, anybody can beat anybody on any given night.
Yeah, it's true. But when I was growing up, then in Europe, Russians, they practice the hardest than we. But when I came to Canada, like it was like when I'm talking to people, and Rick, that after every practice, we had conditioning, like 45 minutes. Like it was like the Russian work hard, we did. But when I came to Canada, that was unbelievable. Like every day, like when coach, we around the ice for an hour, coach blow the whistle. Now everybody kind of sneak around the ice, and one guy went to the door and wanted to leave. Then coach said, hey, where are you going? Everybody, half of the team on this line, half of this on this line, and they skate like for 45 minutes. Like the ice, the snow was up to ankles on the ice, like every day. It was like Canadian guys, like I'm trying to explain to people because everybody thinks Canadians are born with the skates on their feet. But it's just amount of work. Like at least those times when I was there with Rick, it was just amazing. Like nobody complained. Like we come in the dressing room, everybody was happy, everybody was, laughing and this. We took shower, you went home, you slept like a baby. And next day we play in Vancouver. We landed in Toronto at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we lost in Vancouver. We lost so many games, but we lost. Then we went straight from the airport to the rink, and we skated for an hour without the puck, just up and down and up and down in laps. You know what I mean? Like it's Canadian guys, like Canadians, hockey players, what they went through.
Peter, let me ask you this: when did the thought of playing in the National Hockey League get into your mind, and what did you know about the league?
I didn't know much, but my brother Dusan, he sent, I don't know from how he came to the idea. He sent a letter to Montreal Canadiens for some souvenirs, and they sent us beautiful calendar, like you know what I mean. And on each page was NHL team, beautiful picture, like everybody, like in Europe. In Europe, when I was growing up, or even when I was playing Tab League, nobody had same helmets. One had black, one had white, one had blue. Whatever you found or whatever you got, you play with. And those Canadian guys, like they were lined beautiful, like everybody there, eating nicely. Like was like just for me, like looking like at angels. And see, then one day I came home from church, and Russia is playing Canada, and 72 series, and Phil Esposito. That was my idol. Like right away, I take jersey with number 7. You know what I mean? And I heard that he's scoring goals mostly around the crease and that kind of. Then I kind of imitated him, and I wanted to play like him, and he was the guy like sitting, on the penalty box and going like that, I kill you or something. Like I was mad. It was just amazing. And then Paul Henderson goal too. That was And then what happened in my life, like I said, when I was playing European Championship, it was in Czechoslovakia. And under 20 tournament, World Championship was in Czechoslovakia. And I got invitation with national team to join, to go to Lake Placid, like when it was pre-Olympic tournament. And I was excited. I joined Sparta. I went from Poprad to Sparta, and Sparta is capital city. There is lots of influential people. You know what I mean? Then they helped me to travel with the team. Then I was in Lake Placid, and before we left there, they said that it's B team, and the player who is going to be the best on this team is going to join A team to play in Olympics. Then I went to Lake Placid, and I was playing well. We played some exhibition games. We played against Canadian Olympic team. We played in Halifax against Canadians farm team, and I was voted best players. And this. And when he came back, then they announced in TV that Peter Ihnačák was the best player, and he's going to join the A team, and he's going to play in Olympics. I was so excited, and you know what I mean. Then later we had camp. They give me tracksuits, shoes, everything for Olympics. You know what I mean, hats. Then we supposed to leave. It was Saturday. We had dinner. I went to my room in the hotel, and Sunday we supposed to leave for Lake Placid. And they knocked on my door. Said, "Peter, we want to talk to you." And I just froze because I know what was going to happen. They said to me, "Peter, Russia invaded Afghanistan. Political situation is very unstable. You're not traveling with us." And I was kind of in shock.
That must have been very, very difficult for you to kind of comprehend that, Peter, at that time.
Yeah, it was, but I love hockey so much that it bounced off me. And then they finished Olympic. They finished fifth, and it was big disappointment. Then Ludek Bukac was my coach in Sparta Prague, and next year was Canada Cup. I think it was 81. Then he calls me and said, "Peter, you playing like hard nose, you playing physical game, and you compete." And I said, "I want you on the team." I said, "You're going to join the team. We have a training camp." And we had a training camp all summer. I said, and then we're going to Canada, and you will be on the team. Then suddenly we are at the camp, and KGB agent came around to our meetings or came to training camp, and they started investigating because they heard that 5 guys signed a contract with NHL teams. But they talked to everybody, only they didn't talk to me. Yeah, and then after they left, then Ludek Bukac calls me and said, "Peter, I'm very disappointed." I said, "Why, Mr. Bukac?" He goes, "Because I thought you will come to me and you will say, 'Mr. Bukac, I didn't sign anything.' I said, 'I didn't travel anywhere. I'm sitting at home. But your brother came from New York.' I said, 'No, but I didn't sign any contract.' They cut me. But on the team, there was center was Darius Rusnak. He was KGB agent. Dusan Patek, KGB agent. There is 2 centers. Yeah, and they were always there. I was lucky too because you know what I mean. For me, to dreaming to play in Canada, but not telling anybody, because even when I played for Sparta Prague, I always on that team too. There was maybe 5, 6, you know what I mean, guys that working for KGB, for secret police. And you know how it is. You go out, sometimes you have a couple beers, and you start talking. And I remember one story when we were traveling by the bus, and for some reason I bought English book. I wanted to learn English. Some automatically I opened that book, and lying on my back, I have 2 seats. And suddenly one guy said, "Hey, look at that! He's learning English. He's going to escape." I closed that book. I put it somewhere in the closet at home. I never took it out. Yeah, and then after that training camp, I wanted to go to with other Sparta players, go to Germany, because one of them wanted to buy a car. Yeah, and then we said okay, and that was before we made that agreement. Before we went to camp, said if we're not going to make the camp to go to play in Canada Cup, we're going to Germany. Then I apply for special permits, like maybe I needed 10 permits. Then I apply for that. And then finally, after that, when they cut me, I went to German embassy and I got visa. And that time, after you receiving the visa, you had to stay 10 days at home, like in Czechoslovakia. After those 10 days, you can leave. Then I was at the practice with Sparta, and secretary came and said, "Peter, there is a couple guys waiting for you because there is something wrong with your apartment. You go to the office and you talk to them." And I went there, knock on the door. I opened the door, and there was 5 guys in the suits. And he said, "Hey, Mr. Ihnačák, you going to Germany?" I said, "Yeah." "It's secret police. You're going nowhere." They said, give us your passport." I said, "Okay." I said, "I don't have it here." I said, "It's my apartment." Then I went home to my apartment. I couldn't find it, and I knew Deborah. Yeah, we were going out with her. I was going out with her. I said, "Oh, I know. I think my girlfriend has it." They said, "You know what? Until tomorrow, 12 o'clock, you bring the passport to secret. There is a special police bureau where they was investigating the political guys, like prisoners. You know what I mean? It was very hard." Then they said, "Until 12 o'clock tomorrow, you bring the passport." They left, and I jumped on the subway and drove in downtown. I talked to my girlfriend. I said, "Listen, what should I do?" I said, "Maybe I can grab the passport." I said, "Jump on the bus or on the train, and I will try to leave." But then I was thinking, "Hey, probably they call the borders. You show up at the borders, they call, take you, put you in, you know what I mean, and you're out." And next day I brought the passport back, and they asked me what happened. I said, what happened is we agreed with a couple of Sparta guys that we will go to Germany because one of them wanted to buy the car. Then they left me. I said, okay. Then maybe a couple of weeks after that, I received a letter from government that I am enemy of the state, and I'm not for the state is dangerous. That when I owned the traveling documents. Yeah. Then I went to Prague. I was in Prague. I went to downtown and talked to people. I said, what does it mean when they take my passport? When do I get it back? He said, I know somebody 20 years. I know somebody 30 years. I know somebody that never got. And I was shocked. I said, what am I going to do? Because I wanted to play hockey and I wanted to travel with the team. And I didn't even think about escaping. Yeah, but then I went back a couple of times, talked to those KGB agents, worked out, play some games, went back to them. They told me, I said, listen, you come in a couple of months and we give you that passport back. I said, wow. Yeah, then a couple months later, I went there and Miroslav Fričer escaped. Yeah, and I said, hey, I wanted my passport back. They said, Peter, no. Because this guy escaped. We would give you passport back. You escape. We would be looking like an idiot. I said, no, we will not give you that. Then time flew. A couple of months again, I went back to them. I said, and they asked me always that question, that situation, and and I explained them exactly what happened, and I didn't lie. I told them true, and they said, okay, we will give you that passport, but the guy, Sparta, they don't want you to have the passport. I said, no. say, yeah. They said, no. I said, okay, we call Sparta, and we call them and ask if we can give you passport back. And you, when the phone is ringing, you pick up the other phone. And then they call Sparta. They said, oh, Mr. Ihnačák or Peter was here. He wants his passport back. And the guy said, no, don't give it to him. Because at that time, I was the best player on the Sparta team. They needed me. And they were afraid that I leave. The guy said, no, I don't give it to you. I don't give it to him. Then they hang up, and they say, okay. Then I went, I know who that guy was. Then I just went to jump on the streetcar, I went to that guy. I said, listen, you told them that they shouldn't give me passport back. I said, listen, if I wouldn't be playing hockey, I would be traveling. But because I play hockey for Sparta, then I'm not traveling. I said, I quit playing hockey. See, then I packed my stuff and I went to Poprad, to my mother's house. And I was there maybe 7 days. And after 7 days, Sparta started calling. Said, where is Peter? I said, Mom, don't tell them. Mom said, no, he's not here. They call again. Then 2 weeks after, I received a letter. And in this letter is that my responsibility is practicing. And if I don't practice, I have to work. And in those communist time, was a rule that was a law that if you didn't work, then you will go to prison. And they send me like letter from the court that I supposed to show up in the court or something, and they will send me to prison. Then I went back, then I start playing and we start winning. I scored some goals and, then everything went well. But before that, the coach called 5 guys. I said, okay, guys. And coach was a KGB agent too. He goes, 5 guys. He goes, okay, let's vote. Who wants that Peter stay? And and who wants that Peter leaves? Then 3 guys voted that I stay. They were my linemen, and 2 said no. But okay, then I stay. And it was in December, was Izvestia tournament in Russia. I went with national team and I played very well, and my line was playing very well. I scored some goals, we had success. Then we came back from that. In January, February, the national team went to Finland, and they didn't take me. They took that Rusna guy, that KGB agent, and they play awful. Then when they come back, then the coach said to me, listen, World Championship is in Finland, you're going with us. And I said, wow. Meanwhile, I got my passport from KGB. But in those times, you had in Czechoslovakia, when you went on your personal holidays, you have your personal passport. But when you travel with the club or with the company, you had company passport. See, and I went to KGB agent. I said, hey, give me my passport back. They said, we talk with Sparta. Sparta was happy the way you play when you came back, and there is no problems. Here is your passport. And that was when I got my passport. That was first time that I was thinking about escaping. Yeah. Then I had some money, Czech money. Then I went to downtown Prague, to hotels, taxi drivers, because they deal with the foreigners. And they have a foreign money like German marks or Canadian dollars, US dollars. Then I say, okay, guys, let's exchange. And I put probably $3,000 together, and it was scanned. Then we traveled to Finland. When we landed, I put my passport, my personal passport. I put my money in the pocket, and I travel. I was like stupid because I put a little bit more like extra bigger luggage. Yeah, if they look something. But okay, when we landed in Finland, in Helsinki, first thing that one of the KGB said, okay, guys, let's give me your passport because I have to do it accreditation. You see, when you give him the passport, you didn't see your passport back until you are loading the plane on your way back. Yeah, but I had my passport. And when we were traveling from the airport to hotel, one of the players, like I didn't have too much experience, one of the players said, "Hey guys, be careful what you leave behind in your room, because when we go to practice or we go to play the games, the KGB agent gets the key, they go to your rooms and they look what you have. What kind of, what I said, holy smoke. That was best advice or best, what I hear. Then every time I left my room, I put the $3,000 in my pocket. I put my passport in the pocket. We went practice. I stick it in my pants, hockey pants. I practice with that, and I play the games. And then one night, it was good that I didn't get a good body check because the money would be flying. And then one night at the hotel, I called my brother, and I learned a couple of words. I called collect. He picked up a phone in New York. I said, John, listen, I'm fed up. I don't want to go back. Then he goes, sit tight. I will come and get you. And when he was loading, or I would say checking on the plane, then he met Mike Nikolak and Jerry McNamara.
Okay.
Flying from New York to Helsinki. And my brother know them from like watching games on television. Then he start talking to them, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, we're going to Helsinki because we have a free chair guy, and he needs some European center." And he goes, "Hey, my brother is center. He wants to escape." They said, "Okay, we will watch him, and we see, what kind of player he is, and then we can talk." They were watching one game against Sweden. I was playing well. Then they talked to my brother, and they offered me contract. And that was first time they told me. I said, "Be quiet. That when you escape, then be quiet, because we were in Canada. That was first year when European players had to go to the draft. Before, players like Peter Stastny, they were free agents. Any team they signed, they were there. Yeah, then we play against Sweden, and next day we practice. And like after the game against Sweden, John called me and said, "Peter, tomorrow at 5:00, I'm waiting behind the hotel in the taxi. Don't take anything, just brush, toothbrush, and this. I will just be jump and we go." But it was really not realistic, because I had passport, but leaving Finland has law when somebody apply for landed immigrant or political, like, you know what I mean, they would return back to the country. See, then 5:00 I jump in the taxi. I had no idea. I said I had my passport, I had some money, but normally it was not realistic. Then we drove to the harbor, and we stopped by the big boat that is going every weekend or something from Stockholm to Helsinki and back to Stockholm. Party boats, drinking, discotheque, dancing. Then we jump out of taxi, and there was two guys in uniform stopping people and checking something. And my brother said, "You know what? No luck, probably. We will have to go back to hotel." Then we go to approach those two guys. He goes, "Tickets." The brother pulled tickets. "Okay, next." And we were on the boat.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Peter, let me ask you this before you go any further on that.
Wow.
There's all kinds of horror. I mean, that's an unbelievable story about Russian players defecting, families being threatened, players being extorted for money, things unimaginable in today's world, but very real at the time. Now, Vaslav Nedemansky was the first Czech player to defect from behind the Iron Curtain in 1974, and he went to play for the Toronto Toros. And that's another story all itself. That was 8 years before you, but had you been monitoring what he went through and how he survived in Canada and what happened in the aftermath of what he did?
Yes. Like when he left, then I was just a kid, and we thought Czechoslovakian hockey is no more. Like, he was the guy. He was the best player. He was, you know what I mean. And when he left, then he said, "There is nobody who can replace him. Nobody who can like we have no team, we have no chance to play against Sweden, Russia, and Finland or something like that. But yeah, we follow that. It was not easy to follow because there was any like now you can watch NHL on TV, or you have internet, you follow the scores, you follow the stats, but at that time no, only there was radio, Free Europe or Voice of America, where maybe once or twice a week, and it was communist that you can hear something, then disappear. It's almost like us. You can hear something, it disappear, but we follow. Yeah, we follow. It was exciting. You know what I mean, to know that he's playing and he's doing well, and he motivated us. Like I had a podcast with Boris Salming and I think it was Inge Hammarström, and they were talking about those times when they came to Canada. And it was kind of, same thing what I went through. Because when I came to Canada, I didn't do anything else than working out. And Nuccio told you that. I went every day. I went every day. First year, I went even earlier. But then when I was in Toronto, every day I went 9 o'clock and I work out until maybe 11:30. Come home, eat something, sleep until 2 o'clock. And I went to High Park. And I was running in High Park, from 4 until 6. Like that was every day. I didn't do anything else. That was only focus. Like Rick is Canadian, and they have a different, you know what I mean. They finish season. They had summer. They play golf. They fun, on the boats or whatever. But for me, that was because for me it was surviving. Yeah, it's not like when I would not make the team, or my contract, that first contract that I signed in Finland would expire, then, when I'm not good enough, then, I was scared of that. That's why I just, like every day, I finished maybe beginning of September, and then 15th of September was camp, and the camp was until October, and then was, the league started.
I remember one time, I think it was 1985, I believe it was, or maybe 86, when we went to the World Championships in Prague. And I remember talking to you before we went over there, and you said, here's a number of a guy, and he has a restaurant and a bar. He said, go there. This guy will look after you. And sure enough, the guys would get together and we'd go to this place. And Peter's buddy looked after us very, very well. But I remember walking around the streets and seeing the army guys on the corners with guns and everything, and thinking, holy cow, like, what the hell is going on here? Like, this is weird. But unfortunately, I guess that's just the way it was back then, right?
Yeah, it was like that. That Peter guy, he's always talking about you, about John Anderson and Bill Darlego, and he still have your stick or whatever, maybe stickers or whatever you gave it to him. And every time he goes somewhere, he have a couple of beers. Oh, Rick Vive and John Anderson and Bill Darlego, and he's talking. It was scary because I think Alan Eagleson was he was there, and he wanted to be around the bench or something like that. There was always 10 policemen or something around him, and it was scary for Canadians, Western guys, American guys. It was just different. Like you must watch your steps, because when you overstep the line, then it can happen something that they put you in jail, or they put you somewhere, or do something to you. It was just it was like whole country was full of secret police, and it was hard.
That was a good reason why you helped us out so much, because we didn't have to go anywhere else. We just went to his bar, and we didn't have to worry about anything. He gave us a very good tip, and I always remembered that.
Yeah.
Well, I was just there 2 years ago playing hockey against some club teams, just traveling around with some old timers, and it's not like that anymore. It's like going anywhere. Beautiful city, great hospitality. Went to a couple pro games. They were awesome to go and watch the crowds and the games. It was just a wonderful experience going through, at the time called Czech Republic. But speaking of which, now, Peter, when you arrived here, talk about your first camp with the Leafs when you got in ice with these guys like Delego and Vive and so on. What was that like, and how was your experience?
My experience, it was we at the camp in North York, and first thing it was, you know what I mean, like for me it was shock when I saw probably 60 guys at camp. It wasn't the Maple Leafs camp, but it was, and you look around and everybody was like a bodybuilder. So everybody looked like Gary Nyland, like unbelievable. But then I said, hey, what am I doing here? Then I put my skates on. First shift, we had first session about probably 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock until 10. And the second session is from 10 to 12. First, the face-offs, I receive the puck, I go around the boards, and some guy hits me, and I sprain my ankle. First shift. I don't know what Jerry McNamara was thinking. I was out. I was out for a whole training camp. Before maybe a week before the league started, I started skating and I was nervous. You know what I mean. And now I'm watching. I went to Maple Leaf Garden. It's exhibition game and it's sold out. Like every exhibition game was sold out. Just guys are flying. Like there is not one bad hockey player. I said, what are you doing? I said, what are you going to do here? Yeah, but then it was good because it was kind of they helped me because I didn't have that camp. But then they put me in the lineup. Like I didn't have to, because there was like so many good guys that were cut. You know, like first week and then second week, and you said, where is that guy? No, he's going down to St. Catherine, or it was, I don't know where was it. I think St. Catherine. Was just like, if you look everywhere, he's a good hockey player, like big, physical. You know what I mean? Good hands, good shot. He's almost everybody like Rick. Only Billy Darlego was different. He was the nifty guy. Yeah, that you know what I mean. Like that was hard time because I was at the hotel, or everybody was at Westbury Hotel. You know what I mean? And coming, watching the practices, and you want to skate, and I put my skates on. I went on the ice. I catch ice a little bit, pain in the ankle, put skates off the ice. You know, another 2 weeks, you know what I mean. It was hard, but then the season we started in Chicago. And I think we tied the game, and I had maybe 1 assist or 2 assists. Then we went to St. Louis. I had a couple assists there. You know what I mean? I said, hey, I can play here. But I was in excellent shape. Like when I came to US, because when I left Helsinki and I landed with the boat in Stockholm, then my brother went to Canadian embassy and tell them the case that I signed a contract with Maple Leafs and that I would like to go to Canada. He said, yeah, that's perfect. He got all documents, but it takes 7 months until we give him an immigrant and let him go to Canada.
That's good. What was your first impression when you saw Peter? Like, these guys are coming in. Some Europeans were starting to filter through the league. When did you take notice of Peter as a real player?
Well, I think pretty quickly, obviously. I mean, it was. I tell the story, and it's actually quite funny. It's we had a pretty good team. I mean, and Miroslav Fritzscher was there, Peter was there, Duras. And I can't remember who else, but halfway through, I can't remember what season it was, but we weren't having a very good season. And it was halfway through the season, and Harold Ballard, because a flight attendant wouldn't give him chocolate bars on the plane, he canceled the charters for the rest of the season. So what happened was we started staying overnight. So we didn't know each other very well because, you know, after practice, everybody went their separate way. But now we started staying overnight a lot. And so we'd go out together. We'd start talking to one another. And I think that really helped us. Like, we got to know them. They got to know us. We got to trust one another a lot more. And I think we were the 4th or 5th best team in the league in the second half of the season. because there was that trust. And, so then all of a sudden we just got along, very, very well. And I wouldn't say we didn't get along before. It's just that we didn't have time to spend together that much.
Yeah, plus my language barrier. I didn't speak English at all.
Yeah.
For the couple of years, it was very hard. I mean,
what was your first impression of Canada when you arrived? What was the thing that struck to you the most? And let me give you a little bit of a preface for that. When one of the Russian hockey players, and I keep coming back to Russian guys because this was the story that came out, but Vladimir Krutov, when he played in Vancouver, one of the wives took his wife out grocery shopping and show her around town and where to go. And I think you may know this story, but as it turns out, when she returned to find her in the store, she had a shopping cart filled, like over the top, filled with hamburger, chicken, roast, steaks. And she was looking for another cart. And the girl said, "What are you doing? You could feed 10 people for 6 months with that." And she said, "Where we come from, when you get a chance to buy meat, you buy it because it doesn't show up." Did you have any sort of experience like that when you arrived in Canada? Just shocked you, the new country you're in?
Yeah, I think I was surprised. You know what I mean? Just like that Russian girl, it was here in Czechoslovakia. Whenever you went to store, you came there were empty meat hooks, or there was the bananas or something like that. And only when you have connections, you know what I mean, then you got something. Yeah, then I was surprised how well people are having in Canada. You know what I mean? They don't have to worry about groceries or about food or about meat. You know what I mean? It just and for me, Canadian people are the best people in the world. Like, I mean, they're all friendly, they're all nice, polite, and helpful, and it just it's special. Canada is a special country.
Well, the prices are going way up now, Peter. Everything is going up. Gas, food, everything is going up in crazy prices.
Now, on that topic, just going back to the game, your expectations of playing in National Hockey League, after going through the league the first time, was the level of play as you expected it, beyond what you thought, or less?
Beyond. It was excellent league. I mean, players, like I said, that's like Canadians are. They all skate. They all are big. They all are physical. I mean, they all work hard, and everybody is out afraid too. Like that time when I was, with the Leafs, and everybody afraid because it's so many players waiting for your spot. But. Yeah, the hockey, it was more than I expected, or it was better than I expected. It was good hockey, good teams. It was exciting to be there.
Now, what about the coaches you played for? Let's talk about as like John Brophy as an example. What was your impression of him? Now, but just so you know, Peter, we're not ambushing you here. Every player that's come on has a John Brophy story, so it's not something we haven't heard before. But your experience facing a coach like that from where you came from.
It was you know what I mean. I love John's excitement about the game, and I like his passion. I like his passion for winning. He could be mean when we didn't play well, but when we played well and we won some games, he goes. I remember we won a playoffs game in St. Louis, and we went back to hotel. He goes, "Guys, come, I buy you a drink." Like he was nicest man and the most passionate man that I know in hockey. Just he was hard. He has his way. Like I hurt my knee, and he came to me, "Peter, I was in Colorado. I don't know, you say like East Coast League or whatever. He was coaching there. I said, oh, I was around the football players. There is no such a thing like bad knee. I'm going to fix it for you." Then, like we had practice. After practice, everybody left. Then I was leaving. Said, hey, where are you going? Come here. And he put me beside the bench. He goes, "Jump over." I jump over the bench, over the boards, jump back. Then I was going for like 20 minutes. I just put my leg over the boards. I fall in the bench, I get up, kind of, you know what I mean, crawl out, put my leg over the board, fall on the ice. Then he goes, okay, now we're going to goal line. Then he goes, go down and back. Then I try as hard as possible. Then back, go again. Then I try, go again. It didn't stop. Like I couldn't even crawl to the other side. I was done. Then he goes. Now we go to escalators. There was in Maple Leaf Garden was escalators.
Yeah.
Now you run against. Then I was running against. Then he took me to the gym and he puts tension. Like I couldn't do it barely once. He do it 100 times, and I went like knee extension. And he goes 100 times. But the best story was, I was after practice. I went to weight room. We had to just cross a corridor, the weight room, and I kind of ride a bike, and then I went to punching bag, and I kind of, beside the punching bag, I punched, and John walks in. Hey, Peter, come here. I teach you how to fight. And he comes to me and says, hit me. And I went like, no, that's not hit me harder. Then I a little harder. No, that's not like hit me harder. Then no, hit me hard. Then I just won, boom, and he just was kind of, you know what I mean. So yeah, I love the guy. It was excitement, lots of excitement with him.
Oh, there was a lot of excitement, all right. And I had him in Birmingham in the WHA as well. And I remember one real funny story though. Billy Derlago was coming back from an injury, and he made him run up and down the escalator and everything as well. And one day he told him to go in, and he said, go in and ride the bike. So Billy goes in, and he's just pedaling like on the bike, and he's got a coffee in one hand and a cigarette in the other. And Brof walks in, and Brof says, well, if you're not going to try, you may as well go home. And Billy got up off the bike and said, okay, see you tomorrow, and walked up. And I thought, only Billy could get away with that.
And then we had warm up in the morning, pre-game skate, and normally the team opposition team came and sit in the stands. And first, John's idea said, "Hey guys, let's shoot pucks at them."
Now, Peter, I'm going to ask you.
Hold on. Well, one other funny story. When I was coaching in Charleston, South Carolina, we played Norfolk, where he coached in the ECHL. And we played them in their building. We beat them, and we were leaving. And as we were walking out, the fans were all gone by then. Their players come back out on the ice, and Brophy makes them skate for about an hour and a half after the game, after we beat them.
I was going to ask you, well, that'd be Brof. I was going to ask you, Peter, when you once you got yourself established and started playing, did you feel any pressure to perform as a player, not only just for yourself, but I mean, let's face it, the hockey world will be watching once again with this influx of, European players coming in. So you'd be closely watched. Maybe you weren't realizing you were being closely watched, but players at home would be watching how you did, just like you looked at Vasilov Nedomansky or anybody before you, the Stastnys or whoever it was. Did you feel that kind of pressure, or did any of this resonate with you?
No, not at all. I mean, in Canada, when you have sold out building and you don't need anybody to push you. You don't need anybody, and you know that you don't play well. Then you come next game to the dressing room. There is your jersey is not hanging there. Then it's kind of embarrassing, and you want to do you want to do your best every game. And doesn't matter what score it is. It was kind of that we all worry about, not Rick, but we like normal players, we all worry about competition, like this guy is going to be called even from Newmarket or St. Catherine, and he's going to play in the game and he's going to play better than you, and suddenly you have no job. I mean, we play with injuries because of that. We play with concussions. We play with you know what I mean. When you say, no, I'm playing. I want to play. I want to do my best. Just not, it
It's
was.
great.
It's a job, and we love the job, and we love to compete, and we love to play. And play as best. So it's exciting when like you put it from the beginning of the show here, that announcement in the Maple Leaf Garden. When you score the goal or you had assist, it just sounded through that Maple Leaf Garden. It's just a fantastic feeling. I mean, it's. I don't know many Canadians they wouldn't compete or they wouldn't play up to their potential or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. It was a lot different game back then, though, where most guys were on two-way contracts, so there was always someone, as you mentioned, Peter, looking for your job. And there was. I mean, I remember one year, I think we had 49 players played for us with the Maple Leafs that year, and they called guys up, sent guys down. Now it's a little bit different. Like, back then, they would call up just the best player. No matter what forward got hurt, they'd call up the best forward from the American League. And now, if it's a top six forward, they call up a top six forward. If it's a bottom six forward, they call that guy up because he's better suited to play that role. And so that's why that's how I see the game has changed a lot more over the years when opposed to when we were playing.
Yeah, my Swedish buddy Tommy Bergman, it's true. He said when you're playing on the first two lines, then you have lots of friends, and when you slide to fourth, it's a competition unbelievable. Like when they call the guy from the St. Catherine, and he comes to dressing room and he plays the game, he wants to have your job. But when you are first line, then everybody, hey, excellent job, everything is okay. When you come to third, fourth, it's a dangerous territory.
Actually, that's a good way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about polarizing figures and John Brophy, let's go to the ultimate polarizing figure of all time in Maple Leaf history, Harold Ballard. When did you first learn of the team owner and meet him as a person, or did you have any interactions with him?
Yeah, it was. I had, and beside what I read in the newspaper, and when he was able, even he makes statement that no communist person will be playing in his building. When Russian team came to Canada, said no, those people. But when you met him, he was the nicest man. He was Peter. Whenever you need something, just come, and I will always help you. I think Miroslav Friček got in trouble. Some kind of trouble, then they give him even Maple a lawyer to deal with his problems, and like he was the nicest man. Like I cannot, what I mean. Like I think I don't know if you have the story right, but I think when Ricky scored so many goals and he wanted to negotiate the contract and he wanted more money, they kind of said around the league. They ruin his name. They said, don't pay that guy because he's money hungry. He wants only money, something like that. They stopped, what I mean too. But I have only good experience with Harold.
Well, Harold was not a bad person, as I always say. He treated us pretty good.
Yes.
He was just cheap. He wouldn't. I would say that probably 90% of our team were paid less than what they should have been compared to players in other teams. And
I mean, you were
treat us bad.
You were the best players, and you deserve. I think I don't know how much you were making, but at least double what you were making. And it was hard, and you know that it was hard because if you didn't accept their contract, they those owners that were connected, and they said, "Oh, what with wife? No, he wants more money." Then suddenly you had no choice, just sign with Maple Leafs.
Yeah, well, free agency was 32 years old, so you didn't have much of a choice. And I remember Paul Coffey. I think the only way to make money if you wanted more money was to hold out. And that's what he did in Edmonton. He wanted more money. They wouldn't give him what he wanted. So he held out. He didn't go to camp. They traded him to Pittsburgh. He got his contract. He got what he wanted. So that was the only way you were going to get what you wanted. It's in the NHL back then.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, Peter, the difference between, say, Harold Ballard as an owner you played for in Toronto and some of the owners you played with at home in Sparta, as an example, yeah, I know you're smiling, but were the owners hands-on at home as they were here in Canada?
Hands-on?
Well, a little bit involved every day, like wanting to be in the press and be front and center and be a part of the team basically every day.
That was interesting story because I never been in Canada. I was drafted by Maple Leafs, and when I flew first time from New York, to Canada and to Toronto to camp, then I step out of the plane and everybody, hey Peter, everybody knows me in Czechoslovakia. You were a hockey player, and nobody like knew you. Like when you played for 10, you know what I mean. Then. Like what happened? Like it was funny because not funny. I don't know it was funny, but we always that argument. Canadians are pros. We were not. Yeah, because I had a job. Yeah, I was working in the factory, but it was a job on the paper, and I was getting money from there. And when we play hockey, then we play hockey. When you win the game, you get the money. When you tie the game, you have half of the money, and when you lose, you didn't get anything. So when you end up, yeah, we didn't have a contract. We had, for example, we lose in a month, we play maybe 4 games, and you lose 4, you didn't have any money. Only when you win. Like
hey, good thing Harold didn't know that. That's how he would have been paying you guys.
Yeah, he probably would have figured that out and done that. Yeah.
But we didn't have a contract. We didn't have we had, it was said that for winning the game, we had 400 crowns. That's probably $15. When you lose, you didn't have any money.
Jeez.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't. That's pretty harsh.
We got salary from the factory. It was kind of better than average people. We probably got now it's like we got then $3,000, which is maybe $250. But it was like you could have buy for $100,000. You could have buy a house or something like that.
Well, Peter, we had some technical difficulties at the beginning of this call, so we want to thank you for giving us all this time today. It's been fantastic speaking to you and catching up. Just a couple more seconds. I'd be remiss if we didn't make a comment about 2 things here. First, I want your impression of the biggest change you've seen in hockey from the Czech perspective to where it is today. And I sort of referenced the World Juniors that just passed with that Czech team that came in and startled everybody and just played tremendous. But I didn't learn until the last game. There was, I think, 12 or 13 kids on that team that are playing in the CHL. So they're so almost North Americanized now. There's no difference. They were as physical, tough, skated hard, shot, identical to the U.S. and Canadian teams. So there really wasn't any difference, and they played tremendous. But I'm wondering your thoughts on that, but also the difference you've seen from when you were playing to what you look at today.
Yeah, like that's exactly what we were talking from the beginning. Like we were, when I was kid, and then, when I was maybe 18, 19, 20, and before I escaped, you were 24 hours available. Okay, and that's the difference because Czech and Slovakian hockey is not as good as it was before, because like I said, we practiced hardest. The Russian hardest, we were second hardest, and it was everything was organized. We had summer training after the season. We had 2 weeks off. After 2 weeks, we start summer training, and we went twice a day whole summer. Then in July, we had 2 weeks holiday, and in 1st of August we starting conditioning. And we went until end of the season. It was organized. It was hard. It was effective too. And now suddenly that freedom is you know what I mean, and families are rich and they want to spend time around the ring. They want to go for summer holidays. They want to go for skiing holidays. Plus, people that have money, they try to influence the coach. Like I cannot, like I'm realistic when I see my son or that he's not good, and I'm not going to try to influence the guy or coach to put him on first line. Or if he's not putting on first line, then I will not sponsor the team. That's the difference, because Czech hockey and Slovak hockey went really down. Like last 15 years, it's very hard, to find players that would be drafted first, second round. Yeah, now like Slovakia last year was excellent year. Slavkovsky, Mešar, Nemek, they were all drafted in the first round. There were a couple guys in later rounds, in Czech, but it's not as steady producing good hockey players like before. And it's something happened. I don't know, maybe, but my opinion, hockey is hard work. Hockey is kind of no holiday or not summer camp or something like that. The hockey and Rick knows that. You know what I mean? You have to work hard. And now when I was in Canada, living in Canada before I left, scouting for Washington. Even Canadian guys now, they all spend summer. Working out every day. They have a special coaches, athletic coaches, condition coaches, and it's just different. And that's what is missing here. When I go to Russia, and Russians, they work hard. Same thing like before. Coach is the god. What coach said, then you have to do it. You know what I mean? When he goes.
That was a pretty darn good Czech junior team, though, Peter.
Yes, yeah. But you know what I mean, Sundays, you know what I mean for me, like when I'm thinking like you have a guy who has problems here, competing, skating, and he comes to Canada, they fix that. Like it's different, because when you go to junior game, like I'm going to watch a junior game tomorrow, there will be probably 10 people. And in Canada, you go to junior game and it's 10,000. In London, it's 10,000. Like there is, you know what I mean? And there is like competition. Like you have to beg the guy in Czechoslovakia, beg him to, move his butt. But in Canada, you come to the dressing room, you see your jersey not there. And then you start thinking something is wrong. What's wrong? I have to do, But it was good team. It was surprisingly good team. I think guys played exciting hockey. And yeah, like you said, it was fun to watch them. And suddenly now in Czech Republic, suddenly more people, more fans coming to see the games in the rinks, because it was they wanted to. I think now it was first time after so many years that the Czech team, national team, won the medal in World Championship.
Yep.
It was like so many 10 years, or I don't know how many years they went without. It's kind of discouraging. But now this team, this junior team, brought excitement back in Czech and Slovakian hockey.
Well, I think you have to also take into account that since 1972 with the Summit Series, everybody's learned from everybody. Everybody's ingrained their own games, including training, because the Canadians never trained like the Europeans did. And you look at the kids now, well, the kids you're scouting and you watch them, they're training 12 months of the year, 7 days a week, basically. If they're not on the ice, they're doing what you did, maybe not as intense and as hard as you did. So they've caught up to the way the Europeans train, realizing you cannot take the summer off and just start skating in September again. They're going all year round and training just as hard. So there has been a little bit of catch up on both sides. And the physicality and the way the North American game has put itself into the European game, I think is evident the way to see, especially the way you saw those Czech kids play in the junior. And they were very impressive.
Yeah, they're very impressive. Yeah. And now like before, you had Czech school or Czechoslovakian school, you had Swedish school of hockey, like the way they play. Now it's kind of because of video. They all study games. They all study NHL games. They all study, and they kind of it looks to me that every country is playing same kind of style of hockey. You know what I mean? Then now this time is hard for checking. You know what I mean? Where five people of the unit is pressing and is attacking you when you're receiving the puck. It's before every country had their own style, but not anymore. It looks like the hockey is the same everywhere.
Rick, final thought before we let Peter go?
Yeah. If I have a final thought,
let's
I
hear
thought Peter was one of the better players that came over, and I enjoyed playing on the same team as Peter. We had a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. I think once Harold canceled those charters and we got to know each other better, everything was uphill from there on. It was unbelievable. Like, we had a lot of fun. We enjoyed ourselves, but we worked our asses off.
Yeah, it is
Peter,
true.
final thought, Pete?
I started my first line was Fritcher, Walt, Padamny. But then, after that, I played with Rick and Steve Thomas, and it was fun to play with those guys, because as a center, you like to pass the puck. When you pass the puck, the Rick, you have assist, or Steve Thomas, the puck is going to end up in the net. You know what I mean? And it was fun, and Rick and all those guys like Bill Arlego when I came, like when we started when I started talk to Rick, and always Rick said yes, no. Because I didn't know what he's saying. Yes, no. But then when we know they were all helpful, Boris Sounding was kind of there too, what I mean, helping us. He was European, but he spoke English, and he was kind of guy between us, what I mean, help us. When I done something inappropriate, and Boris said, hey, don't do that, or it is done appropriate, we shouldn't do that. And he was helping us, and we kind of, we went out, we had a couple of drinks, and we talked, and made fun, and that what put us together. And when we play well, that's, what I mean, that then you have the most fun.
Well, thank you so much, Peter, for joining us today. That's wonderful. And best of luck going forward with your health issues you have you're dealing with. We wish you nothing but the best, obviously. And hopefully we'll see you over here soon, and we can buy you a drink one day.
Thank you very much, Mike. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Peter, thank you very much, pal. Good luck with everything.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.